Good morning. It's 11:33. Let's go, Chairperson.
Good morning, Honorable Paulsen. Honorable Weber, good morning.
Morning, Chair. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good morning,
Thank
everyone.
you. Honorable Paulsen, good morning to you.
Good morning, Chairperson. How are you?
No, I'm very strong. Much better than yesterday.
Yeah, Chairperson, we must hurry. Time is votes.
Good morning, Honorable Bryant. Honorable Dave Bryant, goeiemorgen.
Sorry, Chairperson. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Honorable Winkler.
Morning, Chair. Morning, colleagues.
Hope you have landed safely. Good morning, Honorable Gancho.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning to everyone.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, Honorable Mkunu.
Morning, Chairperson. Good morning, everyone. How are you, Chair? You look bright today, yeah?
Medication can make you look proper.
Yeah, that's the good part of it.
That's the good part of it. Do we have a necessary quorum? Chileka, good morning to you. Every time I greet Chileka, she leaves the platform. Tlanza, we hardly hear your voice. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Chair.
You good?
Very, very good.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Right, are we ready to roll? We wake up to devastating news of some storms here in Gauteng and parts of the northwest. Some of the houses have been taken over by storm last night. Fortunately, at this point, there are no fatalities that have been reported. But this is a continuation of a meeting that we had yesterday. Good morning, Ms. Gangen.
Good morning, Chairperson. How are you?
I'm strong. Are you strong?
Excellent. Yes, ready to hit the ground running, Chairperson.
Wonderful. Mr. Van Breda, good morning to you.
Morning, Chair, honorable members. How are you today?
Hey, much better than yesterday.
That's good to hear, Chair.
Good. I don't see the minister and the deputy minister here. Chloe and your team, good morning to you. Deputy
morning,
Minister
Chair.
Gift. Is Deputy Minister Mguni self-appointed? Not yet. Okay, let's proceed, honorable members. I think we have a quorum. This is a continuation of our portfolio committee meeting that we had yesterday. We agreed to reconvene today at 11:30 so that we deal with the B list of the climate change bill and probably consider and adopt the committee report on climate change. Without waste of time, can I check if there are apologies? I only received one apology from Honorable Kancho, who had requested to leave around 2:00. She has an appointment with the doctor. Other than that, I don't have any other apology. Chileka, do you have any apologies?
Yes, Chair, good morning.
Hey, kunjani?
Ndiyaphila, Chair, kunjani?
Akhondo.
Yes, Chair, I received apologies from Honorable Singh, Honorable Ganjo, like you said, she's going to the hospital at 2. And then there's another apology from Deputy Minister Soyu and DG Shabalala.
I'm sure
Thank
we
you.
must have seen that the minister is in New York. If Gift was here, you would have registered that apology. I thought the minister was going to join from New York. It would have been nice. That's fine. Apologies, honorable members. None, I suspect.
Oh, Chair, Honorable Mbata is on the phone, but she will join shortly.
Okay. All right. Can I please get?
Joined.
She has joined. Sawubona Mbata.
Molo, Chair.
All right.
Right, I've survived the storm of yesterday, but it's a disaster outside here.
Yeah, I have heard. Hey, no, at least akunabantu abalimele abafile.
Yeah, but we have to clean up. There's lots of things flying around.
Aye, we are with you in prayers. Thank you very much. Can I get a mover of the adoption of the agenda, honorable members?
It's Honorable Mbata. I move for the adoption of the agenda, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mbata. A seconder.
Seconded, Chair, by Ganjo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ganjo. Ms. Gangen, are you ready for us? Without further ado.
I am, Chairperson. Chairperson,
Wonderful.
before I begin, let me greet everybody on the platform this morning. What we propose to do is to go through the amendments made to the B bill. So we sent the A list to CREDA and they came back with a B bill. We went back and forth, I think, about 3 times yesterday, and we do have a final B version. I will take the committee through the amendments that were made to the B bill. And then after that, Chairperson, I propose we go through the clause by clause. If you are in agreement, Chairperson, we are in your hands. May we proceed?
Should we, can I request that we leave that to the wisdom of the committee? Honorable members, there is a proposal from Ms. Gangen. Are we comfortable with it?
Yes, Chairperson.
Yes, thanks.
No problem, Chair.
Okay, Ms. Gangen, you have a go ahead, green light.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you to everybody on the platform. So, Chairperson, the very first change that we've made to the B bill is on the very first page. We've included as amended we've added the words the portfolio committee and my apologies, portfolio committee on forestry fisheries, and we've added the words the before the words environment. So that's on the very first page. The next amendment is on page 7 in line 36. We've changed the word circumstance to circumstances. If I may just have your indulgence to go back to page 3, under chapter 3, page 3. Okay, we've literally just taken away an inverted comma that was after 15A, the words finance mechanism. There was an inverted comma. We've taken that out. The next change is on page 6. The definition of national greenhouse gas emissions was left out. It was the very first amendment on our A list. And unfortunately, CREDA omitted to put that into our B bill. So we've added it. We've added that definition. The next amendment is on page 7, line 54. Page 7. Taleka.
Who is moving the screen for you, Ms. Gangen?
I asked Taleka to do it, and I did say to her that if she had any trouble, that she could ask me.
I'm on page 7.
Okay,
Yeah.
page 7, line 54. The word impact, we've changed it to the word impact, so we've added an S. The next change on page 8, line 22. We've changed the word subsections 3 to subsection 3. On page 10, under process of appointment, after subsection 12(1)(b), we've removed the inverted commas. The next change is on page 11, under clause 12(b). 12(b)(5). The last word on 12(b)(5) is itemized. There were inverted commas. We've removed those. The next one is on the same page, clause 13(4). After the word website, we've removed inverted commas. The next clause, 14(1), 14(2), we've removed inverted commas after the words commission. Okay, on page 12, clause 15(1)(d), we've inserted the words least. On page 15, clause 22, page 15, clause 22. So 22(4)(c), we've just removed spacing between the years 10 to 15-year period. So we've removed spacings there under 22(4)(c). On page 16, still clause 22(8). We've done the same thing with the time period. We've removed the spacing between the 10 to 15-year period. So it's just a spacing. And then, a moment. And on lines 4 to 5, if you can just go up a little bit, Taleka, please. We've removed a duplication of the word must in lines 4 to 5. Taleka, if you could please just go to the memorandum on the objects of the bill. Towards the end. Taleka.
I'm on it, Chair, on page 25. T.
Hi, T.
Yes, I'm on page 25.
All right. So under the memorandum on objects of climate change bill, there's been a consequential number change because we've added clauses in the bill. So there is a numbering change apart from the substantive changes, which I'm going to go through now. So clause 4, we've added the words. Clause 4 provides that the bill is applicable within the borders of the Republic and that it binds all organs of state as defined in Section 239 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, 1996, the Constitution. The clause further provides that the Executive Director of the Presidential Climate Commission must submit to the Minister a report on its activities and the performance of its functions and its expenditure at the end of every quarter. In addition, the Executive Director must submit the Presidential Climate Commission's financial statements and audit report on such statements to the Minister on an annual basis, and the Minister must table such reports and statements in the National Assembly. One moment. And then in clause 7, we've added the word laws. Clause 10, we've added the word government. We've added the words traditional leaders. We've added the South African Local Government Association. And we've added to the clause, advise on the Republic's climate change response. The Presidential Climate Commission, which existed immediately before the commencement of the envisaged act, continues to exist, and existing commissioners will serve on the Presidential Climate Commission for the remainder of their term. So we've added that bit. Clause 11, we've added a sentence. The Presidential Climate Commission may establish committees to assist in the performance of its functions. Clause 12A, which is a new clause. 12A provides for the appointment of the Executive Director of the Presidential Climate Commission. Clause 12B, new clause. Clause 12B provides for the financial administration of the Presidential Climate Commission. Clause 13, we've amended just to add the words to. So it reads, Clause 13 provides that the Presidential Climate Commission must submit its reports, studies, strategies, recommendations, and related information to the National Assembly and to the relevant ministers. Clause 14, we've added the words. Clause 14 provides for we've added appointment and responsibilities of the Secretariat of the Presidential Climate Commission. Clause 15A, new clause. Clause 15A provides for a financial mechanism to be prescribed by the Minister to support and finance the Republic's climate change response. Clause 19, we've added the words at least. So clause 19 provides that at least within 1 year. So we've just added the words at least. Clause 20, we've added the phrase fulfillment of the objectives of the envisaged act. So clause 20 now reads, clause 20 empowers the minister to request and obtain data and other information held by any person which is required for the purposes of the fulfillment of the objectives of this act. Clause 21, we've added the sentence, the latest updated nationally determined contribution serves as the trajectory. Clause 22. So we've added, I'm going to read the entire clause, but I'll just guide the committee. We've added the words, and such list must reflect the national greenhouse gas emissions profile. We've added the words, noting that the cumulative amount of greenhouse gas emission reductions which the sectoral emissions targets represent ensures that the national greenhouse gas emissions profile is kept within the national greenhouse gas emissions trajectory. Excuse me. So clause 22 reads now as follows. Clause 22 empowers the minister to list the sectors and subsectors which are subject to the allocation of a sectoral emissions target, and such list must reflect the national greenhouse gas emissions profile. After having published such a list, the minister must determine sectoral emission targets for the listed sectors and subsectors. The sectoral emission targets must be aligned with the national greenhouse gas emissions trajectory, noting that the cumulative amount of greenhouse gas emissions reductions which the sectoral emissions targets represent ensures that the national greenhouse gas emissions profile is kept within the national greenhouse gas emissions trajectory. So that's the first half of clause 22. Clause 23, we've inserted the words or has the potential to emit. So that sentence now reads, the minister must further publish a list of activities which emit or has the potential to emit one or more of the listed greenhouse gases. We move on to clause 27. We've added the words, furthermore, any regulations made in terms of section 15A must be tabled in Parliament 30 days prior to its publication in the Gazette. Clause 33. We've added the word the. So the last sentence, or let me just read the entire clause. Clause 33 provides that any person may appeal to the minister or an MEC against a decision taken by any person acting under a power delegated by the minister or that MEC, and further provides that such an appeal must be processed in terms of section 43 of the NEMA. Page 30, clause 34 on page 30, we've changed it to schedule 3. So the last sentence now reads, this clause further provides for an amendment to NEMA in accordance with the schedule 3 to the envisaged act. And under financial implications for the state, we've just removed inverted commas after the word, or it was a star, sorry, that was inserted after the word costs. And those are the amendments that we have effected to the B-Bill, Chairperson. Thank you.
Right. Honorable members, Those are the amendments that have been made to the B list. I'm not too sure if there are clarity-seeking questions. Honorable Winkler.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to Ms. Gangan. I just have a question of clarity with regard to the composition of the Presidential Climate Commission. It says individuals with expertise or background in environmental management, climate change mitigation, and law. And so I think a comment that was brought up in the committee on quite a few occasions, as well as the submissions, was the inclusion of climate scientists or those with expertise, because as part of the bill, the PCC may, but not necessarily must appoint a technical team to advise in terms of the science and the latest science around climate change. So if perhaps Ms. Gangan can speak to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Winkler. Honorable Bryant.
Thanks, Chair, and thanks, Ms. Gangan, for all of the work. Just two quick questions. Just in terms of clarity on the clause around emitting and then the potential to emit, can you just expand on the reasons for including that? I'm not suggesting we take it out or change it. I'm just trying to understand the rationale behind potential to emit. Is that in terms of new technologies that might come down the road, or I just want to get a bit in terms of clarity as what's exactly meant there. And then in terms of the financial mechanism, it seems that the wording has changed slightly from the original intention, which I think was sort of provided more of a mandate to the minister to implement the finance mechanism, whereas now it appears that it's more a case of giving the minister the prerogative as to whether or not they wish to implement such a mechanism, or have I read that incorrectly? Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Bryant. Ms. Gangan.
Okay, I will allow the department to answer the policy questions. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay. The department.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning. Chair, I think on the issue of the emissions, I think when we say the emitting and the potential to emit, this will indeed take into account the evolving technologies and also the ongoing listing that will also happen within the UNFCCC. I think Honorable Bright is very right. It's just to allow a situation where we take into account the evolving technology. If you recall, this clause at some point before it was amended, it was giving more discretion to the minister to say when the minister thinks. So it has changed to allow that, Chair. The financial mechanism, Chair, I did not get the question quite clear. I think on 15A, the minister must prescribe a mechanism to support and finance the Republic's climate change response planning implementation by the national, provincial, and local government in consultation with the Minister of Finance. I would have thought that this is what was, agreed in the A list, Chair. I did not get quite what might have shifted there, Chair. Back to you, Chair.
Okay, let's get Honorable Bryant to assist us. Honorable Dave Bryant.
Yeah, Chair, that clears it up. It was just there was another clause which had been amended, which was talking about allowing the minister, providing the ability or the capacity, whatever it was, to prescribe that. But if that clause is still existing, then that's perfect. I've got no issue. Thanks.
Are you clear, Mr. Ramaru?
Yes, I am, Chair. Thank you. I think it's clear. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Right. Honorable members, further takers on the proposed amendments. Anything that we think might have been left out, Honorable Winkler?
Yes, my question wasn't answered. I asked about where the role was in the Presidential Climate Commission for the inclusion of scientific expertise from climate scientists, because it's not explicitly stated. So I just needed some clarity in terms of the composition of the PCC, because it is mentioned that there's environmental plan, environmental management law and something else, but nothing about climate scientists. And we know that the PCC also does not have to appoint a technical team, but it may. So I just worry about, the oversight in that body. Perhaps, someone could respond to that. Thank you.
Mr. Ramaru, am I right in assuming that this is not a legal question?
Indeed, Chair, I'm trying to go straight to the clause so that I will provide more of a pointed response, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I've gone to the clause. Yes, I think Honorable Winkler, it's 12(2)(a) and B, where it says the composition of the Presidential Climate Commission must broadly reflect the demographic and the gender. That's fine, and must be appropriate, qualified, and have expertise in the socio-economic, environmental, and broader sustainability field. Chair, the intention was not to be overly prescriptive of the different discipline, but when one look at the socio-economic, environmental, and broader sustainability field, it's inclusive, Chair, of the science discipline that will fall under this category. And this can include physical sciences, this can include climate scientists, this can include economic scientists, this can include the social sciences. So the approach really is to allow a multiple discipline to be included into the commission, but not to be overly specific within the bill, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I don't know if that will satisfy Honorable Winkler, but I can assure you that all the disciplines, because if you go to enumerate each and every discipline, Chair, then you would have to, if you say climate science, you then have to come and say maybe economic science or social science, but the socio-economic, environmental, and broader sustainability field really takes into account the various disciplines to enable balance. Thanks, and over to you, Chair.
Does that suffice, Honorable Winkler?
Thanks, Chair. And I understand the explanation, but it is very, I think, concerning to me that for a climate commission to overtly not specify that we must have climate scientists on the panel, for me is concerning, because it doesn't really place any mandate on the PCC to then invoke the assistance or have someone like that on the board of that climate commission. It just seems like quite a striking omission, but thank you.
I think it must be thoroughly rekindled. Let's get Dr. Kobese. I think I follow what Honorable Winkler is saying, unless we then agreeing that it does not have to be in the act itself. It might need to be in the regulations or somewhere. But I think I follow what she's saying. Dr. Kobese?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and good day, honorable members and colleagues. Now, just to clarify, what the Honorable Winkler is talking about is clause 11. 11, I think it's 11, 2, and 3, where the commission has the... Yes, Chair.
Yeah, can we be taken on the screen, Chileka? Can you take us there so that
it's 11.
We know what... Which page is it on this document that is on the screen?
Let's see. On my site, it's page think it's page 10.
Page 10 is
11, 2 and 3, where we say the commission may establish committees to assist in the performance of its functions. And then 3 says the committees established must then comprise of that expertise: environmental management, climate change mitigation, finance, law, and related fields. So here, of course, we could not, it would not be practical to list all the fields. But then I think Honorable Winkler's concern is covered by the last wording, related fields. The wording related fields ensures that the commission may look at all the relevant fields that it deems necessary. So it's all encompassing. So I think it's covered under that, the last bit of that of 11.3. Thank you.
The committees established in terms of subsection 2 must be composed of persons suitably qualified in environmental management, climate change mitigation, finance, law, and related fields.
Yes.
Related fields, Honorable Winkler.
Yeah, as I said, Chair, I think that because the sole and purpose of the body is a climate change commission, and that it should be, I think, a priority to have, the best science and technical expertise to inform the decision making of the body. As I said, I do find it quite concerning that that would be subsumed under a broad statement of related fields. So that is my concern why, as I said, why it has not been specified, because already the PCC is not mandated to call on technical expertise. It's something that is optional. So now if it's not even set out in the bill that is required on the commission, then I just worry that where is the role for that technical expertise that is required in this decision making. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Ramaru?
No, thanks, Chair. I note now because I was addressing the previous one, and I think my colleagues, Mr. Govese, has tried just to impress to the Commission that the expertise within climate change mitigation are inclusive of climate science. So people who have expertise within the climate change mitigation, they have both climate science and in different focus and in different specialities, Chair. I just wanted to underscore that because I see it's a suitable qualified in environmental management, climate mitigation. So I don't know if Honorable Winkler, that would address the issue, because the people who are under climate change mitigation, they have different specialization within the climate change, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Well, in my view, I think that related fields covers it, but it would seem Honorable Winkler wanted it to be explicit and specific in terms of those scientists. But I think it covers it. I'm not too sure if we're sleeping comfortably, Honorable Winkler, tonight.
Thanks, Chair. I suppose there's nothing else one can do. As I said, I would have liked for it to have been explicitly mentioned. But yeah, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Gangen, you wanted to assist?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just wanted to say that, in terms of our process, the A list was the agreed list of changes. And so the B bill merely reflects the changes that the committee had agreed to. And as far as I'm concerned, and the legal team, we are of the view that the terms do cover the concerns. But in terms of process, we are past the changes. The changes were agreed to by the committee, which resulted in the formulation of our A list. And that A list was merely transposed, which formulated and became the B bill. So just in terms of process, I want to guide the committee in that regard. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Gangan. Now that we have adopted the A list, the B list is a ratification of the A list. If I'm not misconstruing. Honorable members, are there any other areas of concern in the B list? If none, may I please move for may I request that we move for the adoption? Honorable Bryant, followed by Honorable Mtulu.
Thanks, Chair. I move to adopt.
Thank you very much, Honorable Bryant. Honorable Mtulu.
I second, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, honorable members. The B list of the climate change has been adopted. Do we have a separate report of the climate change, Chilega?
Yes, Chair, we do.
Ms. Gangan?
Chair.
The report of the climate change for consideration of the committee. There we are. Yes.
And I will assist, Chair.
Mr. Giniza, may I invite you to speak?
Okay, Chair. We are going to try to make this as painless as possible. We'll take it page by page. Because
shouldn't we take it paragraph by paragraph, Mr. Giniza, so that you don't cheat us by any chance?
Okay. I'm all yours, Chair.
Right.
All right. Just change this screen a little bit. I was expecting load shedding now, but it looks like there's a grace period from Eskom. Right. Okay. Where's the screen now? Chileka, are you able to zoom a little bit? Since we're taking it paragraph by paragraph. Chileka, are you there? Now, on the bottom right of your screen, just click on that plus sign there.
It's called zooming in, Mr. Giniza.
Okay, good. Good morning, members, colleagues, and everybody else. This is the report of the committee. As Ms. Gangan explained, that effectively it says what the committee had agreed to, which is what we'll be going to shortly. So this is the draft report of the Portfolio Committee on Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment on the Climate Change Bill, B9 of 2022, dated today. The Portfolio Committee on Forestry, Fisheries and Environment, hereafter referred to as the committee, having considered the Climate Change Bill, B9 2022, referred to it and classified by the Joint Tagging Mechanism as a Section 76 bill reports as follows. Chair. That was your first paragraph.
Yes.
Okay. I suspect there's nothing there.
Yes, nothing. Let's proceed.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just need that confirmation so that I have a cue. Okay. Then the next paragraph is the climate change bill was referred to the committee on 18 February 2022 as shown under ATC number 21 for consideration and adoption. The primary objectives of the bill are to facilitate the creation of an effective response to climate change and a long-term equitable transition to a low-carbon and climate-resilient economy and society in South Africa within the context of sustainable development. The bill also addresses related matters. Chair?
Okay.
The committee published an advert on 20 April 2022 calling for written submissions with the deadline set for 27 May 2022. A total of 13,135 written submissions were received by the closing date. Thereafter, the committee held 27 public hearings in all 9 provinces of South Africa. Within each province, 3 district municipalities were visited. The public hearings were held from 3 February 2023 to 16 July 2023. Additional written submissions were received during or after each public hearing. After considering public input and deliberating on the bill from 2 August to 15 September 2023, the committee unanimously agreed to the following amendments.
Let's proceed.
Cheleka?
Yes,
A little bit more. Scroll up a bit more. Okay. Clause 1. On page 6, after line 4, to insert the following definition. Wait, where are you now? Okay. The following definition. National greenhouse gas emissions profile means the latest trends in national greenhouse gas emissions totals with and without sinks. Then again on page 6, after line 26, to insert the following definition. Public Finance Management Act means the Public Finance Management Act number 1 of 1999. On page 6, after line 28, to insert the following definition. Resilience means the capacity of social, economic, and environmental systems to cope with a hazardous event or trend or disturbance, responding and reorganizing in ways that maintain their essential function, identity, and structure, while also maintaining the capacity for adaptation, learning, and transformation. Chair?
Yes.
Then we move to clause 3. Okay. On page 7, line 35, to omit the physically challenged and substitute persons with disabilities. Chair?
Yes.
And we move to clause 4. On page 8, after line 8, add the following subsections. Subsection 3. The Executive Director of the Presidential Climate Commission must submit to the Minister, A, at the end of every quarter, a report on the Presidential Climate Commission's activities, the performance of its functions and expenditure, including the implementation of its approved strategic plan, and B, Annually, within 6 months after the end of each financial year, the Presidential Climate Commission's financial statements and the audit report on such financial statements. Subsection 4. The minister must table in the National Assembly the reports and the financial statements submitted in terms of subsections 3. Within 15 business days after receiving the reports and financial statements from the Executive Director of the Presidential Climate Commission, or if the National Assembly is not then sitting, within 15 business days after the commencement of the next sitting. Chair?
Yes.
Clause 7. Scroll up. Okay. On page 8,
On my
line
side,
20.
I'm on clause 7.
Right. On page 8, line 23, after policies, to insert, comma, laws, and omit and. And again, on page 8, in line 29, after society, to insert a comma and omit and insert, comma, traditional leaders and other relevant stakeholders. After business. Chair?
Yeah, Baba.
Clause 10. On page 9, from line 18, to omit section 10 and to substitute the following section. Section 10, subsection 1, paragraph A. The Presidential Climate Commission, which existed immediately before the commencement of this act, continues to exist. B. A person who is a commissioner of the Presidential Climate Commission immediately prior to the commencement of this act will, subject to subsection 6, continue to serve as a commissioner for the remainder of the term for which such commissioner was appointed. Subsection 2. The Presidential Climate Commission will, upon being listed as a public entity in Schedule 3 of the Public Finance Management Act, be a national public entity for purposes of the Public Finance Management Act and will be subject to the provisions of the said Act. Subsection 3. The Presidential Climate Commission is independent, impartial, and will have the full legal capacity of a juristic person once it is listed as a national public entity in Schedule 3 of the Public Finance Management Act. Subsection 4, paragraph A. The President must appoint not more than 25 members who will serve as commissioners of the Presidential Climate Commission, comprising representatives of, including but not limited to, a fair representation of government, organized labor, civil society, traditional leaders, the South African Local Government Association, and business to advise on the Republic's climate change response, the mitigation of climate change impacts, and adaptation to the effects of climate change towards the attainment of the just transition to a low carbon and climate resilient economy and society. B. A serving member of parliament, including a member of a provincial legislature and a member of a municipal council, except a member of a municipal council who has been nominated by the South African Local Government Association, may not be appointed as a commissioner of the Presidential Climate Commission. Subsection 5. Ministers whose portfolios are affected by the work of the Presidential Climate Commission must be invited to attend the meetings of the Presidential Climate Commission. Subsection 6. The commissioners of the Presidential Climate Commission are appointed for a period of 5 years, renewable once, for further final period of 5 years. Subsection 7. The Presidential Climate Commission is chaired by the President. Subsection 8. The President must appoint a deputy chairperson. Subsection 9. In the absence of the chairperson, the deputy chairperson must perform all functions of the chairperson. Sub 10. The Presidential Climate Commission may A. Determine its own procedures to be followed at its meetings. B. Adopt a code of conduct for the commissioners of the Presidential Climate Commission. And C. Adopt rules which list the circumstances under which a commissioner may be removed, as well as the process of such removal. Chair.
What to get?
Clause 11 on page 9, line 32. After 11, insert subsection 1. And on page 9, from line 39, to omit paragraph C and to substitute the following paragraph. C. Advise government on any socio-economic matter related to the just transition. And on page 9, after line 40, to add the following subsections. Subsection 2. The Presidential Climate Commission may establish committees to assist it in the performance of its functions and may delegate or assign such functions to such committees. Subsection 3. The committees established in terms of subsection 2 must be composed of persons suitably qualified in environmental management, climate change mitigation, finance law, and related fields. Chair.
What to get, Amre? What to get?
Clause 12 on page 9 from line 42 to omit subsection 1 and to substitute the following subsection. Subsection 1. Before appointing the commissioners in terms of section 10, subsection 4, the President must A. Invite nominations by notice in the Gazette and in at least 2 nationally circulated newspapers. And B. In the notice referred to in paragraph A, specify the period within which nominations must be submitted and stipulate the procedure to be adopted regarding such nominations. And on page 9, after line 48, to add the following subsections. Subsection 3. The role of a commissioner is to provide advice to the Presidential Climate Commission on the Republic's climate change response, the mitigation of climate change impacts, and adaptation to the effects of climate change towards the attainment of the just transition to a low carbon and climate resilient economy and society. Sub 4. No person shall be appointed as a commissioner unless he or she is a South African citizen. Sub 5. Commissioners who are not in the employment of the state are eligible for remuneration. Sub 6. The remuneration of commissioners must be determined by the minister in consultation with the Minister of Finance. Chair.
What you get, Mr. Giniza?
Okay, now moving to new clauses. On page 9, after line 48, to insert the following new clauses. Appointment of Executive Director. 12A. Paragraph 1. Sub 1. The minister must appoint a person with appropriate qualifications, experience, and expertise as the Executive Director of the Presidential Climate Commission following a competitive recruitment process. Sub 2. The Executive Director is the accounting authority who must perform the functions of office in accordance with this Act. Sub 3. A person appointed as the Executive Director holds office for A. For A, agreed term not exceeding 5 years, but which is renewable for one further period of no longer than 5 years. And B, on terms and conditions determined by the minister, which must include salary, allowances, benefits, and performance standards after taking into consideration the recommendations of the Minister of Finance. Financial Administration, 12B, sub 1. The Presidential Climate Commission must comply with the provisions of the Public Finance Management Act, sub 2. The Presidential Climate Commission must be funded from monies, part 1, appropriated by Parliament for that purpose through its respective departmental vote in terms of the Public Finance Management Act, and B, received by ways of grants, donations, and inheritance from any of the social partners or any source, whether inside or outside the Republic, in accordance with a fundraising strategy to be adopted by the Presidential Climate Commission from time to time. Sub 3. Monies appropriated by Parliament for this purpose, A, constitutes earmarked funds on the Minister's departmental vote, and B, may not be used by the Presidential Climate Commission for any other purpose without the approval of Parliament. Support. The fundraising strategy contemplated in subsection 2B shall provide that such funding, amongst others, A, must be unconditional, other than that it will be used towards the fulfillment of the functions of the Presidential Climate Commission. B, will not result in a conflict of interest for the Presidential Climate Commission or any other commissioner. And C, must be disclosed in full in accordance with this Act and any other applicable legislation. So 5. All grants, donations, inheritances must be disclosed in the annual report of the Presidential Climate Commission, and all material grants, donations, and inheritance must be itemized. Chair.
Yes, what together, Mr. Giniza?
Clause 13 on page 9 from line 50 to omit section 13 and to substitute the following section. Clause 13, sub 1. The Presidential Climate Commission must submit its reports, studies, strategies, recommendations, and related information to the National Assembly and to the ministers whose portfolios may be affected for information purposes within 30 days of the finalization thereof. Sub 2. The Presidential Climate Commission must furnish the National Assembly with such additional information and particulars as the National Assembly may from time to time require in writing in connection with the activities or functions of the Presidential Climate Commission. Sub 3. The National Assembly may require the Presidential Climate Commission to provide a report on any advice and guidance it has provided to government in terms of Section 11. Sub 4. The reports of the Presidential Climate Commission must be made available to the public by publication on the Presidential Climate Commission's website. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Clause 14. G. Lega.
Is this clause 14 now?
Right, I'll be sharing from my screen. Looks like Chileka's connection has lost the ghost. Clause 14. Okay, is clause 14 visible on your screen, Chair?
It is visibly clear.
All right, on page 10 from line 2, to omit section 14 and to substitute the following section. Section 14, sub 1. The executive director must appoint the secretariat of the Presidential Climate Commission in consultation with National Treasury. Sub 2. The secretariat is responsible for the management of the administrative affairs of the Presidential Climate Commission, the preparation of meetings, and the running of the day-to-day operations, communications, and research of the Presidential Climate Commission. Chair.
Emre.
Clause 15. On page 10, line 14, before within to insert at least. On page 10, line 21, after amend to insert and publish in the Gazette. On line 10, on page 10, line 23, before within to insert at least. On page 10, line 24, after develop to insert a comma and to omit and after, implement to insert and publish in the Gazette. On page 10, line 28, after amend to insert and publish in the Gazette. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Move to a new clause. On page 11, after line 4, to insert the following new clause. Finance mechanism. 15A. The minister must prescribe a mechanism to support and finance the Republic's climate change response planning and implementation by national, provincial, and local government in consultation with the Minister of Finance. Check.
Right.
On page 11, line 18, to omit may and to substitute must. Check. Clause 17 on page 11 in line 26 to omit a systematic observation of and to substitute climate monitoring infrastructure for. On page 11 in line 33 to omit may and to substitute must. Check.
Yes, sir.
On page 11 line 42 to omit may and to substitute must. On page 11 line 53 to omit to and to substitute from. Check.
Yes, sir.
Clause 19 on page 12, line 22, before within to insert at least. On page 12, line 24, after conduct to insert and publish in the Gazette. On page 12, line 31, before within to insert at least. On page 12, line 36, before every to insert at least. On page 12, line 43, before within to insert must at least. Check.
Yes, sir.
Clause 20. On page 12, line 51, to omit National Climate Change Response White Paper and to substitute fulfillment of the objectives of this Act. Check.
Yes.
Clause 21. On page 13, line 10, to omit and up to date and to substitute evidence-based and latest. On page 13, from line 15, to omit the trajectory in Schedule 3 serves as the national greenhouse gas emissions trajectory for the Republic and to substitute the latest updated nationally determined contribution serves as the trajectory. Check.
Yes.
Clause 22 on page 13, line 30, before the to insert paragraph A. On page 13, after line 32, to insert the following paragraph. B. The list contemplated in paragraph A must appropriately reflect the national greenhouse gas emissions profile. On page 13, line 34, after targets, to insert guided by the national greenhouse gas emissions profile. On page 13, from line 43, to omit paragraph B and to substitute the following paragraph. B. Be aligned with the national greenhouse gas emissions trajectory, noting that the cumulative amount of greenhouse gas emission reductions which the sectoral emissions targets represent ensures that the national greenhouse gas emissions profile is kept within the national greenhouse gas emissions trajectory. And check.
Yes.
Clause 23 on page 14, line 44. After emit, to insert or has the potential to emit. On page 14, from line 45, to omit and which the minister reasonably believes cause or are likely to cause or exacerbate climate change. Check.
Yes, we're together, brother.
On page 16, line 30. On page 16, line 12, after the to insert carbon. On page 16, line 12, to omit prescribed, and after circumstances to insert to be prescribed in the regulations contemplated in sections 27 to A Roman 1. Check.
Yes, sir.
Clause 27 on page 17 in line 48, after off to insert the Presidential Climate Commission, or on page 18 after line 16 to add the following subsection 4. Any regulations made in terms of the section 15A must 30 days prior to the publication of the regulations in the Gazette be tabled in Parliament. Chair?
Yes.
Clause 32 on page 19 from line 16 to omit section 32 and to substitute the following section. Section 32. Sub 1. A person commits an offense if that person, per A, fails to provide data, information, documents, samples, or materials to the minister in terms of section 21. B. Provides false and misleading data, information, documents, samples, or materials to the minister in terms of section 21. C. Fails to prepare and submit, a greenhouse gas mitigation plan to the minister in terms of section 24(4). D. Fails to comply with or contravenes the notice of the minister in terms of section 25(1). And E. Fails to comply with the measures contemplated in section 25(3)(b). Sub 2. A person convicted of an offense in terms of section 1 is liable to a fine not exceeding 5 million or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 5 years, and in the case of a second or subsequent conviction, to a fine not exceeding 10 million rand or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 10 years. And in both instances, to both such fine and such imprisonment. Check. Clause 34 on page 19, line 38, to omit number 4 and to substitute number 3. Okay, and then move to Schedule 2 on page 20 after agriculture to insert education, cooperative governance, and traditional affairs. And on page 20 after technology to insert tourism. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Schedule 3 deleted and arrangement of sections. And on page 3 after line 19 to insert 12A, which talks to the appointment of the executive director, and 12B, financial administration. And on page 3, after line 24, to insert section 15A, finance mechanism. On page 4, from line 26, to omit schedule 3. Interim national greenhouse gas emissions trajectory. On page 4, line 28, to omit number 4 and to substitute number 3. The Portfolio Committee on Forestry, Fisheries and Environment recommends that the House adopts this report and approves the second reading of the Climate Change Bill B9B 2022 report to be considered. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Back to you.
Hallelujah. Reverend Kinidza, honorable members, me and Nhlanhla have said a mouthful. It's not him alone. Honorable Weber.
Sorry, Chair, I'm speaking without unmuting myself. My apologies. Chair, I just want a clarity. I remember we spoke about it and my memory is failing me. On section and clause 13, if we maybe can go there, number 2, the inclusion. When we speak about that, the reporting will go to the to Parliament. I remember we had a discussion that it actually should go to a committee, and then it was made clear that we can't say it has to go to the DFFE committee because it might not always be under us because the president moved these acts around. So my question is, why did we not include rather the appropriate committee that it's allocated to than just still keep it with Parliament? It's just a question of clarity there. Thank you.
Are you able to refer us to the clause, Honorable
Yeah, the
Weber?
Presidential Climate Commission must furnish the National Assembly with such additional information, in particular, as the National Assembly may from time to time require in writing in connection with the activities or functions of the Presidential Climate Commission. I just want to read further. I think it's a top one, and related information to the National Assembly and to the ministers whose portfolio. Okay, no, I'm covered. I missed that one. Thank you.
Okay.
Number 1, I says what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. No problem. No problem, Honorable Weber. Any other questions for clarity or concerns on the reports? On the report, honorable members?
From my side, Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Winkler. Honorable Zamini, welcome. Okay. All right. Okay, if there are no clarities, honorable members, we present a draft report of the Climate Change Bill 9B of 2022. May I then request a mover for the adoption of this report? Honorable Mkunu.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I move that we adopt the report since it covers all the discussions and the deliberations that were done previously. I move that we adopt it as presented.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mchunu. Honorable Mbata.
Thank you, Chair. I support the move from Honorable Nkunu.
Okay, honorable members, the report having been adopted, are there objections by any chance? Your legacy hand suggests that you're objecting, Honorable Mbata.
No, no, Chair, no, Chair.
Okay. Honorable members, the report is now adopted as the true reflection of what transpired from ever since the department presented this report to us. We are now in possession of the bill. I perhaps should take this opportunity to thank all the members of this portfolio committee and of course members of the public and the representatives of all formations who interacted with us with any part of this legislative process ever since this bill was referred to the committee in February. All the insights have been very instrumental in helping us to develop a bill that is realistic and optimistic, and of course comprehensive in addressing the climate concerns. I think the committee is immensely grateful for the unwavering participation of all the people in this country throughout this journey. Of course, it is our duty as public representatives to come up and process legislation, and members of this committee have diligently and thoroughly engaged with all the contents, with all the assistance that we got. Honorable Bryant.
Chair, I didn't want to interrupt your flow, so you're more than welcome to continue. I just wanted to say something when you finished.
Okay, all right. I'm actually expressing my appreciation in the meticulous manner in which we all fulfilled this responsibility. And we really have demonstrated our shared commitment to fostering an inclusive and participatory democratic process. And it can only be through such collaborations that we can achieve meaningful change on critical issues such as climate change. And on behalf of the committee, I would like to express our gratitude to all the officials, leaders from Parliament, all of them that were with us even those that were with us during the public hearings, the administrative team, the protection services, and all national, provincial, and local government representatives that were involved in this process. Of course, without their expertise, support, and their efforts, this milestone would not have been possible. It's very important that we also recognize that while this marks a significant milestone, it might not necessarily mark the end of the journey, but merely the beginning of a new chapter for South Africa. This bill still needs to go to the National Assembly for debate, and it must still go to the National Council of Provinces for concurrence before it's sent to the desk of the president. But for our committee, there remains much work ahead related to service delivery and following up on parliamentary recommendations. Some key areas, of course, include enhancing parliamentary systems and processes in supporting a robust legislative process, such as public consultations and communications. All the stakeholders who were involved here were clear on the need for education and awareness, which I believe that the department will also take note of and certainly not disappoint us in terms of creating necessary education and awareness programs across all municipalities that need further attention. And this must not exclude the NGOs and non-profit organizations. The enforcement of environmental legislation such as Air Quality Act, climate disaster preparedness, support or recovery, waste management and circular economy also require our continued focus. I am confident that with the same level of dedication and collaboration that we all have demonstrated thus far, we can overcome any environmental challenge that lies ahead and achieve our shared vision for sustainable and resilient future. Once again, I want to take this opportunity to thank you, honorable members, and the people of this country for your invaluable contribution and our unwavering support and commitment in addressing this pressing issue, which is a global phenomenon, climate change. Thank you very much. Honorable Dave Bryan.
Thanks very much, Chairperson. I'll be brief. I just would like to echo your sentiments that have been expressed in terms of the way that the committee has approached this, and thank you again for your role as Chairperson in facilitating that process. I think one of the most important things that's come out of this entire participation across the country, taking into consideration all of the inputs from all sectors and all spheres of South African society, is that whilst we must focus with laser-like precision on the challenge of climate change and the impact that it is having and it is going to have going forward, we must also ensure that we balance that with the needs and the unique circumstances that we face as South Africans. We have seen some countries recently as this week, reneging on some of their original commitments, particularly some of the countries in the developed world. And we need to make sure that every decision that we take in terms of climate change going forward is carefully balanced between the socioeconomic conditions facing all South Africans, as well as the very pressing crisis that is presented by climate change. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Encouraging words indeed, Honorable Bryant. Honorable Winkler.
Thank you, Chair. And I just in a similar vein want to show appreciation to the committee and I think to all the members of the department for the work that's been put in into this bill. I think that it's a very seminal piece of legislation that's going to inform our climate change response and how we protect our beautiful country and the most vulnerable in it. And Honorable Bryant is absolutely correct. I think that the rest of the world has shown a sense of urgency when it comes to dealing with the climate crisis. And better late than never. We're on our way there, and I just hope that we can really use this piece of legislation to effectively implement the climate change response, and that we don't let the millions of South Africans who are looking to us for that guidance and for that protection down. But thank you, Amen.
Thank you very much, Honorable Winkler. I think working together we can do more. Doesn't imply anything. Honorable members, with all that being said, let me take again this opportunity to thank all of you. As Parliament rise, we wish you well during your, as you discharge other responsibilities, but we will meet in the National Assembly in the next 2 hours. We have done enough for today, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, leadership of the department, and thank you very much, Mr. Van Breda and Ms. Gange. And the meeting is closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Eh,
Yeah.